So a long time ago, a place very near, in fact this very spot, I actually had several times where, because of the confluence of this park and just how things work in general, I would come here and open up like packs of new cards or read through a new game book I bought. And it was at this very spot where I opened my very first box and packs of Legend of the Burning Sands. This is not the actual box that I had, but it was the same type, Moto, because I was a Legend of the Five Rings player, and if they brought over any little slice of Legend of the Five Rings to the new game, I was going to follow it. This is me just going back in time for a little bit. I was at this exact same spot. It was later in the day because the game store had opened. This is where I got my first Legend of the Burning Sands, and I first looked through it. And it was the first edition. It was just Shadows of the Tyrant. I have long talked about how you need the entire set of Legend of the Burning Sands to make it playable. But the early days had their tactics too, and I want to just go over just how it was like to open, and then being there at that very starting moment of the game. What was good, what was bad, what was on my mind, etc., etc. So I would be here sitting next to this tree, and this pack is very much like the one I had all those years ago. Starter set, actually. And as usual, it comes with a pamphlet that tells you how to play the game. I would read that later. Or start reading it right away. I kind of wanted to know how to play the game I was looking through. But sometimes it actually helped to have a grasp of what the cards could do first. This thing showed up everywhere. It was like the most common item in the game by far. Everybody had the dull fucker knife. How else do you say that? Dull fucker? Yeah, it's a dull fucker knife. You got cards that were mostly randomized, but they did have a selection of common stuff you got. I believe we commonly got Yasugai, Argun, Kaidu, and Jangir in every pack. And I think we all got Kyoshi too. Kyoshi was like the heavy. And looking at his price, were it not for the water cost, he's actually pretty well... He's pretty good for what he gets, actually. His water cost is a little high, but there's ways around that. So this is what we had to work with at the very start of the game. Man, this guy was useless. Cost 5 gold, no stats. He's got 3 influence, but read that ability. I mean, he freaking... This guy, when he dies, he takes out one of your own holdings. How terrible is that? This card was pretty common. And unlike the Commander's card, which is only usable by a Senpet, really, Heart of the Common Man was kind of weird because it's got the Moto guys on it. But the funny thing about this is that you have to reduce the strength of your personalities to give a strength to all your followers. And that sounded really weak back then, despite the fact that when you got your eyes open, you looked around, we had so many cheap followers out the gate. We had the Moto Steeds, we had the Advanced Scout, we had... I think there was the Peacock. The Peacock got reprinted in every set, I do think. The City Guard was pretty common, but more about that later. So you had the ability to reduce your already low force and give force to all of your followers. That's pretty cool. That works. But some people more rely upon that than others. And the Moto deck isn't a very good follower-based deck. So it's kind of funny that we have that. And it kind of was a distraction from the overall workability of the theme of the deck. This one, unlike Legend of the Five Rings, this is just like the Block Supply Lines card, but Lost to the Sands costs a gold in Burning Sands. We also had some really cool art, like Divided We Fall was a really good defensive omen, and it had art by William O'Connor, so a lot of us who are superstitious were like, ooh, it's got William O'Connor art, it has to be good. Here's another one, Know Your Weakness. Another good artist to follow is Anson Maddox, who I like quite a bit. Weight of Dreams is, you have to know the game really well to appreciate the value of this omen. The game never lasts long enough for you to do that special ability in the rules where you cycle your deck back. This allows you to do that cycling at the end of every turn. Good stuff. Blind Luck. This one's also one that was hard to grasp, but it was a really good card. In a game where everything is about drawing and reading values, this allows you to stop, discard a value that was drawn, draw one off the top of your deck and play with that instead. And you can target any draw value with this card. Also by Anson Maddox, really good art. This is the one, I think it's an uncommon or a rare. This is the one card I pulled more of than any of the others, and I appreciated it. I only ever pulled one of these with the sun at our back. Yeah, this is actually a very nasty card, because if you read it correctly, it says whenever you have a guy with at least one strength attack, they have to take it with at least one hero or follower. And if all they're packing is elephants and guys with strength 3 or more, they have to have, despite the rules, they have to have someone with a strength of 3 or an elephant die as a result of that one guy attacking. Yes, this is an amazing card. It's very good. And if someone uses big powered guys against you, you can kill off their big powered guys with your little guys using this. The City Guard, most common follower in the game, but one I didn't use in my Moto deck because this guy existed. Archers. Okay, so he's cheaper, he has less power, but he's archery +2, so technically he's 1 more strength, and he's archery, so the direct where his attacks go. The Moto Steeds. They're kind of expensive for what they do, but you get raid +1, which is nice. They're kind of an all-around useful thing. They help you fight in combat, they help you fight in raids. Moto Steeds are just plain all-around good. The Ancestral Sword of the Key Rin. Now these were very powerful weapons back in Legend of the Five Rings, but I have to mention something. In Legend of the Burning Sands, the games don't last as long. So what you're going to get out of Legend of the Burning Sands is you'll get like a +3 or +4 bonus at most off of that sword. Because you don't have as many guys. You don't. You play Legend of the Burning Sands and you'll typically have like 3 to 6 guys on your side when you're starting to swing major battles. But because of the way it's set up, you don't usually swing major battles. There are small fights too. So this is only really good in the late game. Notice it's gold cost. That kind of seals the deal there. You always got trader outs with the Moto set because this is the Moto. It doesn't really do much for you because you have to destroy it to use it. It's the holding for the Moto. Wheat fields, you gotta have wheat fields. Copper mines, you could destroy them and knock down an enemy hero by 2 points, and I like that. Blacksmiths. This is what the Moto really needed, with blacksmiths, because your average Moto only had like 1 force, 2 chi or something like that. This blacksmith card passed it a +2/+2 weapon. Congratulations, you're feeling better all of a sudden. Oh yeah, here's some other guys that were in the first set that, you know, I didn't get off the bat, but Shukai's a really good raider. She's a really good fighter and has archery. She's a bit expensive for what she does, but considering how the gold cost to power ratio works in this game, she's fine. Geharis. Once you looked at all the other champions, Geharis really stood out on top. He had the best combat ability, he had the best force and chi. He was just all around good. He's just a great champion. And to have Geharis as your champion in a Moto deck is mandatory. If you don't have the money to bring him into play because you're losing on the money game, use his fate value. He's just plain good. This is actually a rare that I never pulled from back then that I could have used. Flying. The Moto are kind of like unicorn class, but they don't have cavalry. They have raid instead. You want to go back to using cavalry, you need a flying creature. The Rock has the cheapest cost to water to force valor ratio of any of the personalities in the game at that time. So the Rock was pretty good. You need your Desert Springs. You needed your 1 water. Most of these that I've got back here, there's other cards that I have that I'm going to be making a deck out of, but thinking about how it was back at the beginning, we were first making our decks and first getting into the game, that's what we had, is we just had the stuff to start with, and it was a set of like, what, 187 cards? Not much, but we had it. So I just wanted to make a note that, yeah, this being the anniversary, this is the date of anniversary of the release of Legend of Burning Sand. It happened all those years ago. I forgot exactly how many. That many years ago. Thanks for watching, and may the dice ever roll in your favor.